Okay, so for this one, I decided to do number two. Um, I found it really interesting, especially in the readings, how it talked about more of the sex buyers being the culprit of all this and kind of feeding this industry of prostitution. Um, I thought it was crazy, a statistic that showed in there that 61% of sex buyers and 70% of non-sex buyers currently had a wife or a girlfriend. That to me was amazing because there's so many of these men out here that are doing this, and um, they know the consequences. They know what it does to these women, what position it puts them in, but yet they still keep feeding this and keep doing this to them. One thing that stood out to me was these programs, these John programs that have been started up. Actually, some of them have been going for a long time, and how some of these men don't really care. Um, they said that there's a statistic that shows that these men are changing and it's been working, this program, but when they go into this, they know what they're doing. I think instead of getting a slap on the wrist, like many people say they have been getting, they should have more consequences, like what these women get. When these women get in trouble, they get, sentenced to jail for a while. They get probation. They get something instead of a misdemeanor. It shouldn't be a misdemeanor charge. This is something that should be bigger than that. Um, um, I don't think this program is sufficient enough because it doesn't put enough on these men. It doesn't scare them enough to not do this. I, and one, I don't think it's fair to one side be like, oh, you're going to jail. The other side, you're not going to jail. You're going to do a program that you only have to do for less than a year, and you can't do it again. If you do it, if we find out that you're buying prostitutes again, then you're pretty much gonna have a misdemeanor on your record. Well, you get misdemeanors in high school. You get misdemeanors in college. You get tiny things growing up. Those aren't gonna scare men from not doing those things. Going to jail is gonna scare somebody. Having your face out there on the internet that you're a pedophile or that you're on this a list for sexual activities, something like that, that will scare somebody because then your name's out there. People know who you are, and that's one thing that men don't want and people don't want. They don't want their name out there in the public's eye to show them that they've done these bad things because then it's hard to get a job. It's hard to do these things. Instead of just a misdemeanor that you can keep it quiet, keep it from your wife, and don't have to tell them. That's not going to do any good for anybody. Um, I don't think it's going to reduce recidivism. Um, I think this is just the beginning. And like I said before, the way to stop this is by putting in harsher punishments, by showing these men, making examples. You got to start somewhere. So making an example of someone and starting it there and making a program that's stricter, something that's going to scare these men straight. You had that dad who said, "This is someone's daughter. What am I doing?" Well, so is your wife is someone's daughter too. You, he said he was crying and felt ashamed for what he'd done, but the reality of it is, so did the guy. So did probably someone who murdered somebody and is in jail right now. They probably feel bad for what they did, but it was that moment that they made that bad decision. When you make a bad decision, you have to live with it, and I don't think these men are living with it at all. Um, let's see here. Um, so yeah, I like the article though. Pretty lengthy article, but I like the statistics that it had in it showing, age, states that it was in, places that it was. I liked seeing the numbers because I think the numbers show more than what words do. Because somebody can write words and persuade you into thinking, oh yeah, this is definitely wrong. We shouldn't just be looking at the prostitutes. We should be looking at the men that are buying the prostitutes. But when you see actually what the numbers are and what's happening, that's what really gets you. Especially knowing that it's happening here, just in Salt Lake City. They just did a special on this, I think, just recently on the news about how prostitution is becoming a big thing in Salt Lake, and it's causing issues with many communities. Um, and being born and raised here, that's something that, in Utah, many people don't think happens, but it does. Um, Utah is just exactly the same as LA or any other place. Maybe not as worse, but it has its bad sides, and this is something we need to get a handle on. It's something that I think these groups that they're doing, these John groups, are helping, but it's not enough. They need to up it. They need to make harsher punishments, and that's really going to define whether these men learn their lesson or whether people who haven't done this yet are going to know, oh, this is wrong, I shouldn't do this, because if I do, my name's going to be out there. My reactions to this are, yes, they are doing a good job, but not good enough. They need to up what they're doing punishment-wise. That's it for me. I enjoyed this once again, and look forward to the next one.